Hi, it's Emma. Welcome to It's Your Life by the Grace of God. Um, Wanted to jump in here real quick and just talk about the last thing I was mentioning about Aime McPhearson and Kathryn Kuhlman. Um, when I was mentioning that they were kind of like pioneer women, very, very powerful, very spiritual women. And sometimes I feel like they're the kind of women you want to like be, you want to follow. They're women that will inspire you. Uh, to want to know and do more of the will of God. And these women, even though Kathryn Kuhlman, I think it wasn't like she was married for a long time, but but she was married for a while, except for some reason I don't know, it didn't work out. Uh, And then McPhearson, she was married twice, but in her last, uh, how would you call it? Well, in her last marriage, I guess she separated from the first one, and then one of the husbands died. Anyway, I was reading, I was looking through my Bible, and of course, it's what do you call it? The new spirit-filled woman. What is going on here? And I was grazing and through the pages, and I ended up in Jonah. And it just so happens that in Jonah, Marilyn Hickey was talking about Aime Semple McPhearson, and I was like, oh wow, I can't believe she was mentioned in this book, which is like right here. You see it right there. Anyway, I was really surprised that her name was on there. So I'm just going to read a little bit to you about her. I'm going to skip some things because I'm just going to try to like hurry up and read it. So she was born in 1890 and she died in 1944. A mantle of powerful miracle ministry from Maria Woodworth Eder was passed on to Kathryn Kuhlman, and then from Kathryn Kuhlman, before Kathryn Kuhlman became Aime McPhearson, she was a Christian at the age of 17. She married somebody by the name of Robert Semple. She and Robert married a year later and immediately started traveling and preaching. 1910, okay, they sailed to Hong Kong to minister among the Chinese people. 2 months later, Robert died. He's the one that died of malaria, leaving Aime a widow in a foreign land. After she married again, Harold McPhearson, Aime began to sense God speaking to her, preach the word, will you go? The call burned in her heart, but seemed impossible to answer because women were not allowed to preach at that time, which kind of like doesn't seem too different from these days, because even though we're in the 20th century, right, there's a lot of preachers out there that don't want women behind the what is that thing called? Behind the altar? No, behind that thing. Oh, I can't think of it. That long thing they stand behind when they're preaching, and they won't let women. This is the 20th century, and they still don't allow women to preach behind that thing. And I'm like, why? And this was back in what I say after 1910 or something. And women were not allowed to preach at that time. The longer she waited, the more she felt like Jonah running from God. So she finally began preaching in 1915 and became a national phenomenon. Her ministry was characterized by passion evangelism and was known for miraculous healings. Her radical commitment, evangelism was known. No, her radical commitment to seeing sinners saved took her to witness in nightclubs and dance halls and led her to befriend prostitutes, alcoholics, and outcasts for the purpose of sharing Jesus. And then it goes on and on and on. She built a temple in 1923, founded the International Church of the Four Square Gospel. She also started the first world's Christian radio station, and often accused of being too flamboyant and dramatic in her church services. And she used to do kind of plays, things like that. Aime refused to stop short of using every possible means to bring to the people of salvation. In other words, back in the day, they didn't have Facebook, they didn't have Instagram and Snapchat and everything. But what she did have back in that day, believe it or not, was radio. So she used everything and anything, that she had at her means, in her time, and she would use it. And isn't that's no difference to what we do now? I mean, when it comes to people who want to build a business or want to build a brand, they'll use whatever social media these days to make it, or to get the word out about who they are, what they are, and what brand or what product they're doing. But they'll use whatever method, social media thing that they can use. And she was no different. And this was in, like I said, in the early 1900s. So she used whatever she had to bring forth the word of God, and to introduce people to Jesus. So she didn't hold back. She was like, no, if I can do it, if I can use it, I'm gonna do it. So, woohoo to her. Okay, so and then may God raise up in a generation a company of women like Maria Woodworth, Aime, Semple, McPhearson, and Kathryn Kuhlman. In other words, we should be, again, following in her footsteps. When it comes to that, again, I mean, I'm even prompted to do the same. There's some things that I know God is telling me in my heart to do things a certain way, and oh man, I get so mad because I feel like I'm failing every time. But I know these means that I have, they're not impossible. They are possible. It's just, and the timing just always seems to be wrong. But I'm like, that's okay, because God knows what when and where my timing is going to be. He knows. I'm shaking the table. And so I'm like, okay, it didn't work today, but you know what? A new day is coming tomorrow. So if I didn't do it today, it was a reason why it didn't happen today, and I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. I just have to, take a deep breath and say, okay, let's rethink this. Let's, figure out why, and let's move it. We're just gonna move it along and take it day by day, and we'll see where the next day takes us. So thank God, the weather's getting warmer, and I'm like, yes, because I need warmth. I need to be able to, not only me, but I need to be able to see people. and if it's cold and snowy and freezing, no one's going to be out. Okay, so That's what I'm longing for. I'm longing to see, gatherings of people. So, I'm taking one step at a time. I'm not rushing it because I don't feel like the Lord wants me to rush it. But then again, I can't. I don't want to be impatient neither. So it's take it slow. It's gonna happen. Don't worry. It's gonna happen. Just hang in there. We're gonna do it right. And I go, okay. But so that's where I'm at right now with that. Yeah, it's evangelism, of course. Okay. But another thing I wanted to talk to you about, I did tap on, I mentioned about the realms, and the realms are something busy. What's up? And so the realms are something different because they, like I had mentioned before, they're dimensions. And we're talking about different levels of dimensions. And some of them require from you a lot of, I don't want to say meditation because I don't really like the word meditation because I really don't feel that's what it really takes. I mean, you can use it, but I don't know. There's something about that I just don't like. But I'll come up on that again another time. But there's things that you have to do in order to get to those, to get into those realms. In other words, okay. And of course you do. Yeah, you need the power of Christ. For you to move in that, you need to move in that. It's just not going to happen. You have to know how to use His connections. Okay. But I'll give you. Let me see. How can I put this? Okay. Let me see if I can do this real quick. I had a dream. Okay. And I had this dream that I was walking down this normal neighborhood. Okay, normal neighborhood. Sun was shining. Trees. But I didn't hear no birds. I don't know why. I heard no chirping. It was really quiet, actually. I'm walking down the street. Sidewalk, grass. Trees. Typical neighborhood. And I remember looking up, and when I looked up, I saw all these like apartment buildings. And all the apartment buildings, they all looked alike, except that some of them were different colored. They were variety in color, but they all had the same, they all had the same, I don't know, face. They all had the same, the buildings all looked alike. Okay, so just to make a long story short. Okay, so I went up these stairs to one of these buildings. All the windows looked alike. All the stairs, going up to the apartment buildings, all looked alike. So like I said, they were all different colors. And I'm walking up to one of these stairs, and they were long stairs. They were like really high up. And I'm mad. I felt like it was going to take me forever to get up there. I don't know. They seemed like to be like 3-story high buildings. They were pretty high. So I went up the building, finally got up to the doors, and the doors were really nice. They were like, almost like Tiffany glass, like stained glass, like that, like the oval, and they have the stained glass. They were pretty doors, golden handles, and golden doorknobs. They're very beautiful doors, white doors. And I remember seeing that. So I don't remember having keys. I did not have a key. Now that was something. No keys. I just opened it. I went in. So I went in, and whoa, lo and behold, more stairs. I was like, really? Okay, so I'm walking up these narrow stairs. We're going up. I'm walking up these stairs, and I came up to almost like I could see that there was like a level, where you finally get up the stairs, but it had like a round kind of shape, like a round floor, and it had a table in the corner, and it was filled with different beautiful different little knickknacks that I've never seen on this earth. It's like almost like in a blink of an eye. You're seeing all this, and you're like, oh, those are beautiful. They're gorgeous, shiny, and little music, little boxes, little trinkets with the tops on them, and they were so cute. So I was like, oh, that's still gonna be, think of it because you're still walking. So I walk up. I made a, what do you call it? I made a right, and there was a few more steps, not a whole lot this time, just a few steps. And I finally made it to the door, and it was on my right side. So the door was small, it wasn't that big. I mean, it was a wood door, a wood stained door. So again, I just opened it, no keys, which I'm just realizing that. I went in and I saw a chair. Which I kind of think it felt like a dining room, and it was kind of dark, and there was a red chair. The chair was red. So I went to that chair, and I saw that it was big. So I said, well, I'm just going to sit. I'm not going to be able to fit in that chair. It's enormous. So I'm going to sit in there anyway, just for the heck of it. So I sat in that chair. When I sat in that chair, the chair went, and it shrunk to fit me perfectly. I was like, oh, this is incredible. But then I got up from the chair, and then to my left, I saw these windows, and they were blowing, like white satiny curtains, and they were like billowing back and forth, from the wind, from the open windows. So it was sunshine. They were beautiful. They were long gated windows, and I went over there, and it didn't seem like the room was so big. But when I went to step over there, the room just grew. It just went raw. And I was like, this is a huge living room, except there's only one thing. There was no furniture in the living room. Just the windows with the billowing curtains. So as I was walking away, I went, that's strange. So when I turned around, I was walking, I realized, I said, whoa, wait a minute. All these apartments looked all alike. There's no way there could have been that much room from the outside when I looked up. Where was all this room coming from? Again, like I said, all the buildings look alike. So that had me thinking. And then when I went to the back, the kitchen was really small, actually. I mean, it was tiny small. And I went to the back, and I went out there through this small little door in the back that led me again, but more stairs, but this time the stairs weren't down. And when I looked up, I saw like a dirt road, and it seemed like there was a farm, like a ranch in the back. And I seen these people driving a white car, and what do you call it? The car was white, and it was the down hatch. There was no roof, and they're like waving, Emma, come on, Emma, come on. So I'm like, oh yes, I'm running. And as soon as I came running down the stairs, I woke up. But here's the thing. Years later, now I'm talking about years later, this guy came out with a book saying that he had taken a journey to heaven. And he mentioned everything that he went through. And he said something that I said, I went through the same thing. He said that he went in through the front and he left through the back. I was like, that's exactly what I did. I came in through the front and I left through the back. I was like, again, this was years later. And I was like, hit me. I was on a journey in heaven. And that blew my mind because I had several sins. That's not the only one. I had several sins. And not only that I had a lot of journeys to heaven, But when I went into the hospital, also, I had an not a brain aneurysm, thank God, 'cause I don't think I'd be around, but I had a head injury, and I ended up in the hospital for 14, 13 days. And because of all the medication they were giving me, I also had very hellish nightmares. So I went from one extreme to the other. I know how it feels to be on the edge of on the edge of almost not coming back to life. So I have seen very horrific things as well, bloody, um, tarred images. Um, just to me, they felt like just hellish dreams. I don't want to call them dreams because they weren't dreams to me; they were nightmares. But I'll get into more of those stories to you uh, when I can write them out. So yeah, again, and it's not like if you ask God to bring you to that point, to those journeys, He will. And no, you don't have to read the Bible and know every verse in the book in order for Him to do that to you. As long as you want to know Him with your whole, with your whole heart, and you ask Him anything, and He will gladly introduce Himself to you. He's uh, He wants to show you everything He has for you. And believe me, there is a lot, like I said before, these are things that you are not going to hear in a church because they won't be spoken to you there. So, I hope you enjoyed this, and next week we're going to start getting into the word, because I'm not saying that you don't need to get into word. You do. Okay? We do. But I'll be sharing with you more stories of what the Lord has shared with me. And I know once you get into these footsteps of knowing who God is, you're going to start sharing beautiful stories like that as well. And they just won't be stories to you, they'll be real, because that's how they felt. They feel real. Okay, so until next time, and I hope you enjoyed tonight, and we will talk to you later.